Imagine dropping like $15,000 on the absolute best, top-of-the-line medical treatment for a persistent fever.
Right, like the best money can buy.
Exactly. You take the medicine, you wait, and, well, nothing. You're still shivering.
Yeah, you still have the fever.
Right. And in the medical world, you'd immediately know something went terribly wrong with the diagnosis.
Oh, for sure.
But, in homeownership, when you drop that exact same amount of money on a brand new HVAC system and your house is still, like, drafty and humid, we somehow just accept it.
Yeah, we just shrug and assume, well, that's just how houses are.
It's crazy.
It really is. I mean, it's one of the most frustrating, invisible financial drains for homeowners. You write that massive check, expecting this night and day transformation in your comfort.
Your utility bills, right?
Exactly, but instead, you're left sitting in the exact same hot rooms and cold spots you had before.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
It feels like a betrayal, really, because the equipment is brand new, so the assumption is always that the problem should just be gone.
Which brings us to the core of what we're looking at in our deep dive today. We're trying to figure out why replacing an expensive HVAC system so often just completely fails to actually fix the temperature issues in your house.
It's a huge mystery for a lot of people.
It is. And to figure this out, we're drawing on some incredibly detailed field notes from Dave Hartzell.
Right, Dave Hartzell.
Yeah. He's a master HVAC technician based in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, with, get this, 45 years of experience in the trade.
Which is wild. I mean, 45 years in central Oklahoma means he has seen weather extremes that test like every single limit of home construction.
Oh, absolutely.
And his insights are grounded in a very specific and frankly heavily underutilized industry standard. It's known as ACCA 12QH.
ACCA 12QH. Got it.
Yeah, published back in 2018. And that QH stands for existing homes, energy, and comfort improvement.
So our mission for you today is to use this standard to totally unpack the whole home approach to energy and comfort.
Right. We're shifting the focus away from simply buying a shiny new metal box, that pumps out cold air.
Moving toward understanding your house as a complete, living, interconnected system.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand the solution, we first have to understand the fundamental problem with how we view our homes, right?
Right. We have to look at what Hartzell calls the stark reality gap between new construction and existing homes.
A reality gap. I like that.
Yeah. Well, most HVAC standards, and honestly, the mindset of a lot of contractors, are geared purely toward new construction.
Where everything is perfect.
Exactly. When a crew is building a house from scratch, they have a true clean slate. They design the ductwork perfectly within the framing.
Yeah.
They calculate the exact heating and cooling loads based on pristine, newly sprayed insulation. They install it, commission it, and walk away.
Because every single mathematical assumption actually matches reality.
Exactly. But the vast majority of us are living in the exact opposite of a clean slate.
Yeah. We live in an existing home.
Right.
Like maybe it was built to 1965 standards or, maybe 1985. It has decades of deferred maintenance.
Oh, yeah. The structural materials have settled. The foundation has probably shifted slightly.
And previous owners have done weird DIY remodels. We all know those.
We've all seen them. And so you're taking a piece of 21st century, highly sensitive equipment and slapping it onto a structure carrying 40 years of accumulated compromises.
That makes total sense.
The air infiltration characteristics of a house built during the Carter administration just do not match the factory assumptions of a modern HVAC unit.
It makes me think of cars.
Oh, how so?
Well, installing a top-of-the-line HVAC unit into a drafty 1970s house is essentially like taking a state-of-the-art Formula One engine and dropping it into a rusted-out chassis with 4 flat tires.
That is a great way to put it.
Right. You turn the key, step on the gas, and when the car doesn't win the race, you blame the engine. Or worse, the mechanic tells you to go buy an even bigger engine.
Exactly. But the engine isn't the problem, it's the vehicle it's trying to power.
Yeah.
And ACCA 12QH validates that analogy by forcing professionals to completely reverse their workflow.
To look at the chassis first.
Yes. It demands assessing the chassis and the tires before even looking at the engine. It breaks the house down into 4 interconnected categories to find out where the true failures are hiding.
Okay, let's start with the physical boundary of the house itself. The envelope.
Right, the envelope. That's anything separating the conditioned space, the areas you actually pay to heat and cool, from the unconditioned space.
Like the outdoors or the attic.
Exactly, or the crawl space. We're talking about the walls, ceilings, floors, windows, and doors. ACCA 12 requires a rigorous evaluation of the insulation levels and the air sealing quality of this entire boundary layer.
Because if that boundary layer is compromised, I mean, no machine can save you.
Absolutely none. Hartzell uses a great, highly specific example from his field work.
Well, what's that?
He talks about walking into an older home where the textbook load calculation dictates that a 3-ton AC unit should easily keep the entire floor plan perfectly comfortable.
Okay, a 3-ton unit.
Right. But he walks in, and there is a massive 4-ton unit absolutely screaming. Yeah, running nonstop, and the living room is still sweltering.
So what does the homeowner do? They probably just assume they need a 5-ton unit, right?
Exactly. The homeowner almost always assumes they need an upgrade, but Hartzell goes up into the attic instead.
And what does he find?
He finds that the original R30 fiberglass insulation, which looked great in, say, 1995, has settled.
Oh, right.
It's collected dust and compressed over the decades down to an R15. It's lost half its thermal resistance.
Wow, half of it just from settling.
Yeah. And furthermore, the air gaps around the plumbing pipes, the electrical wires, and recessed light fixtures poking through the ceiling, they all add up to a massive void.
Like little hidden cracks everywhere.
Exactly. If you put all those little hidden cracks together, it's the equivalent of leaving a living room window wide open all year round.
That's insane. So you're literally trying to air condition the neighborhood.
Pretty much. The equipment will just run itself to death trying to overcome that constant outward bleed of energy.
But even if you perfectly seal that envelope, and trap the air inside, you still have to move that conditioned air around the house.
Right. The distribution network.
Yeah, the ducts, which points to the next massive point of failure in Hartzell's notes.
The duct system is often the single biggest blind spot in an existing home.
The biggest.
Oh, yeah. ACCA 12 demands a full evaluation here, checking the design adequacy, the pressure balance between supply and return vents, and crucially, the insulation wrapping the ducts themselves.
Because think about the physical environment these ducts live in.
Right.
Modern building codes for ducts running through an unconditioned space like an attic in Oklahoma require a minimum of R8 insulation.
Which is pretty thick.
Yeah. But what Hartzell frequently pulls out of these older homes is like 30-year-old R4 flexible ductwork.
Oh, man.
Just baking in a 150-degree attic summer after summer.
Just consider the physics of that environment over time. The plastic outer layer degrades, it flakes.
Yeah.
The thin fiberglass insulation underneath gets compressed or, torn by raccoons. The inner plastic tubes get kinked.
So you're taking 55-degree conditioned air, which you just paid a premium to cool.
Right.
And trying to force it through a degraded, poorly insulated plastic straw sitting inside a 150-degree oven.
That's exactly what it is. And by the time that air travels 20 feet to reach your back bedroom, it's absorbed an immense amount of radiant heat.
So the air hitting the bedroom vent might be like 75 degrees instead of 55?
Exactly. No wonder that one room is always hot.
Right. And once you see the envelope in the ducts failing so dramatically, the third area of assessment, the mechanical systems themselves, it starts to look entirely different.
It really does. ACCA 12 requires evaluating the age, condition, and sizing of the existing equipment relative to the actual current load of the house.
Which leads to a tough reality for the industry, doesn't it?
It does. Replacement is frequently recommended by contractors long before it is mechanically warranted.
Hartzell is blunt about this. He says an older, well-maintained unit that is actually sized correctly for the house will routinely outperform a brand new, ultra-high efficiency unit that's wildly oversized.
Especially if it's hooked up to a deteriorating, leaky duct system.
Because the machine can only ever perform as well as the distribution system allows it to.
Exactly. Which leads us to the fourth critical assessment area. Indoor air quality, or IAQ.
IAQ, okay.
Yeah, this covers ventilation, moisture control, and combustion safety.
And here is where the narrative shifts from just being about comfort and money to being about actual health.
Absolutely.
Because the trend lately is to tighten everything up, right?
Yeah.
People buy endless tubes of caulk. They weather strip every single door.
Right, they blow an extra 2 feet of insulation into the attic.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is the supreme irony of those well-intentioned home improvements.
The irony.
Yeah, homeowners seal the house up tight to save energy, but they do it without adding any mechanical ventilation to compensate for the lost natural drafts.
Oh, I see.
A house is a system that needs to inhale and exhale. It essentially has a respiratory system.
So if you seal all the cracks, you've essentially taped its mouth shut.
Exactly that. You end up trapping everything inside.
Gross.
Yeah. Elevated humidity has nowhere to vent, which feels terrible on your skin. And even worse, breeds mold inside the walls.
Yikes.
And CO2 levels spike because the stale air is trapped.
Yeah.
You have literally engineered a toxic indoor environment simply by trying to lower your heating bill.
Okay, so wait. If fixing the envelope is the real solution, why is the default reaction of so many contractors to just sell me a $15,000 piece of equipment instead?
Honestly, it comes down to friction and business models.
Friction, how so?
Diagnosing a complex, invisible airflow system takes hours of specialized labor. I mean, crawling through a 150-degree attic hunting for duct kinks and hidden ceiling bypasses is miserable work.
True, no one wants to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. But swapping out a metal box in the backyard, that takes one day, it carries a massive profit margin, and it requires almost zero diagnostic skill.
Ah, right.
But ACCA 12 forces the contractor to be a building scientist, not just an equipment salesperson.
And that diagnostic approach leads to what might be the single biggest revelation in Hartzell's notes.
The sequencing.
Yes. Because identifying all these broken parts is only half the battle. The true secret to comfort lies in the execution plan.
Right, the order in which you choose to fix things.
Exactly. ACCA 12 establishes an uncompromising golden rule for sequencing.
Step 1, you fix the envelope.
Okay.
Step 2, you fix the duct system.
Got it.
And step 3, only after the first two are completed and verified do you actually touch the mechanical HVAC equipment.
So envelope, ducts, mechanics, why is doing it in that exact order so non-negotiable?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the required size of your HVAC equipment relies entirely on the fixed state of your home's shell.
The chassis, going back to the car analogy.
Yes, exactly. Imagine doing it backward, which is what most people do. You decide your house is too hot, so you replace your HVAC equipment first. The contractor performs a load calculation based on your current leaky house with its degraded R4 ductwork.
Right.
To overcome all that massive heat loss, they calculate that you need a huge 5-ton unit. You finance it and they install it.
Okay, so now I have a giant, powerful machine outside.
Right. Then, a year later, you get a bonus at work and decide to upgrade your attic insulation and seal up all the leaks in your ductwork.
That sounds like a smart move.
It is. You have just drastically reduced your home's heat gain. The house is now a thermos.
Right.
It might now only require a 3-ton unit to stay perfectly cool, but you are stuck with a massive 5-ton unit sitting out in the yard.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because doing the right home improvements, but doing them in the reverse order, actually deeply penalizes you.
Oh, absolutely.
Your expensive new HVAC is now comically oversized for your newly tightened house. It's just way too big.
And oversizing is a mechanical disaster. It leads directly to short cycling.
Short cycle.
Yeah. Think about how an air conditioner removes humidity. It's like a glass of ice water on a hot summer day.
Okay.
It takes time for the moisture in the air to condense on the cold glass and drip down, right?
Right, yeah.
An AC coil works the exact same way. It needs to run for 15 or 20 minutes continuously for that coil to get cold enough to wring the moisture out of the air like a sponge.
Oh, I see where this is going. Because you have a massive 5-ton unit on a tightly sealed house.
Right.
It turns on, blasts the rooms with a hurricane of cold air, drops the temperature to 70 degrees in just 5 minutes, and then it shuts off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The temperature drops, but the machine didn't run long enough to pull any moisture out of the air.
So your house is 70 degrees,
Yeah.
but the humidity is sitting at like 65%.
Yes, it feels clammy, damp, and uncomfortable. And furthermore, the constant turning on and off the short cycling wears out the motors and compressors twice as fast.
Wow. It is an absolute trap.
It really is. By replacing the equipment first, you're commissioning a brand new machine to a broken distribution system.
You're treating the symptom rather than curing the disease.
Exactly. Fixing the cause, the leaky attic and bad ducts, is always a higher leverage investment.
Hartzell even notes that when a customer calls him complaining of severe comfort issues, he actually refuses to just hand them a quote for a new unit.
Really?
Yeah. He evaluates the structure first. If spending $3,000 to fix the ductwork solves the problem entirely, he saves them the other $12,000.
Wow. I love the integrity of that.
Same. But it leaves us with a very practical problem.
Which is?
If I'm a homeowner,
Yeah.
and I don't know anything about, thermodynamics, how do I know if a contractor is actually doing a real ACCA 12QH assessment?
That's a great question.
Like, how do I know they aren't just walking around my house guessing?
You watch what they carry through your front door.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. A true whole home assessment relies on objective physics, not just a guy eyeballing a return vent and stroking his chin.
Hartzell relies on a few very specific diagnostic tools to prove the invisible failures of a house. And the most dramatic one is the blower door test.
A blower door.
Yeah.
I'm picturing someone just ripping my front door off the hinges.
Well, it looks intense. They essentially mount a specialized expandable frame into your open front doorway and fit a massive calibrated fan into it.
Okay.
They turn the fan on, and it violently depressurizes the entire house, sucking the interior air outside.
And Hartzell mentions they measure this depressurization in something called pascals.
Right.
I hear the word pascals, and my brain immediately flashes back to high school physics and just completely shuts down.
Fair enough.
What does 50 pascals of pressure actually feel like in the real world?
Okay, imagine a 20-mile-per-hour wind blowing dead on against every single exterior wall, window, and roof plane of your house, all at the exact same time.
Oh, wow.
That is the pressure we're simulating. By measuring how hard the fan has to work to maintain that pressure, they can tell exactly how leaky your building envelope is.
And they measure this in a metric called ACH 50, right?
Yes, which stands for air changes per hour.
So how many times the entire volume of air inside your house gets completely sucked out and replaced by outside air in one single hour under that pressure condition?
Exactly. And to give some stark context on those numbers, Hartzell notes that a typical older home in central Oklahoma tests at a shockingly leaky 8 to 12 ACH 50.
Wait, 8 to 12, meaning the entire volume of air leaks out 10 times an hour.
Yes.
That's wild. What should it be?
Well, a well-sealed modern home should test between 3 and 5.
Okay, that's a big difference.
And if you go all the way to ultra-efficient passive house standards, it's under 0.6.
Under 0.6. Seeing that math on paper has got to be a horrifying wake-up call for a homeowner paying high utility bills.
Absolutely. And they do something similar for the ductwork, too, the duct blaster test.
Duct blaster. Sounds like a sci-fi weapon.
It kind of does. Similar concept to the blower door, but isolated purely to your distribution network. It pressurizes the ducts to measure exactly how much conditioned air is escaping directly into the unconditioned attic or crawl space.
And that's measured in CFM 25, right?
Right. Cubic feet per minute at 25 pascals. It removes all the guesswork. You get a hard mathematical number detailing exactly how much money is leaking out of your duct seams.
My favorite tool he mentions, though, is when they pair the blower door test with thermal imaging.
Oh, yeah. That is amazing.
They use an infrared camera while the house is depressurized.
The visual impact of that combination is just incredible. Because the blower door is forcing outside air to forcefully rush into the house through every hidden crack and drywall void, the thermal camera can pick up the exact temperature signatures of that incoming air.
It gives the technician X-ray vision.
Literally, you can look at the screen and see these dark blue streaks looking like icy fingers pulling down behind your pristine drywall.
Showing you exactly where the winter air is pouring through a gap in the framing.
Exactly. Or highlighting a massive square inside a sealed ceiling where the builder simply forgot to put insulation.
That would drive me crazy to see.
Right. And the final diagnostic tool brings us back to that crucial concept of indoor air quality and safety. Combustion analysis.
Ah, right. We talked about how tightening a house can trap stale air, but it also alters the internal pressure dynamics.
Yes.
And this is where the respiratory metaphor becomes literally life or death.
Absolutely.
Because if you have gas appliances like a gas furnace or a gas water heater in the utility closet, they need oxygen.
They do. They need makeup air from inside the house to combust properly. And they rely on the natural upward draft of a chimney or flue to exhaust the toxic byproducts safely outside.
But if you weather strick every door and caulk every window and tighten your house's envelope drastically without planning for mechanical ventilation,
the house becomes starved for air.
right, those gas appliances are still firing, trying to inhale oxygen that no longer easily enters the home.
And do you know what happens to that exhaust?
It can't be good.
No. The house creates a negative pressure environment. The appliance starts backdrafting.
Backdrafting, meaning instead of the exhaust gases floating safely up the flue.
The vacuum inside your newly tightened home overpowers the upward draft. It physically sucks those exhaust gases, including deadly carbon monoxide, right back down the pipe and into your living space.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. ACCA 12 requires combustion analysis to ensure that when a contractor fixes your drafty living room, they don't accidentally engineer a lethal hazard.
That is terrifying.
It really is. And this raises an important question. If you have ever hired an HVAC contractor to solve a persistent comfort issue in your home, Have they ever brought these diagnostic tools through your front door?
Probably not.
Have they ever set up a blower door frame, run a duct blaster, or walked your hallways with a thermal camera?
Or do they just look at the age of the metal box in your backyard and write you an expensive quote on a clipboard?
Exactly, because if it's the latter, they aren't assessing, they're guessing.
And they're guessing with your money.
Spot on.
So what does this all mean? The big takeaway for you listening right now is absolute empowerment.
Definitely.
Your house is not a collection of isolated independent boxes. It's a complex breathing system.
He really is.
Armed with the knowledge of ACCA 12QH and Dave Hartzell's field experience, you have the power to stop wasting money treating symptoms.
Right.
The next time the back bedroom feels drafty or your AC can't keep up with an August afternoon, don't automatically assume you need to buy a bigger, more expensive machine.
Demand a holistic diagnosis.
Yes, demand that they evaluate your home's envelope, your ductwork, and your insulation. Make them prove the equipment is the failure point before you pay a dime to replace it.
You know, thinking about the house as an interconnected system leaves us with a really fascinating concept to chew on for the future.
Oh, what's that?
We've established that altering the air sealing drastically impacts the respiratory system of the house, right?
Yeah.
Well, as we integrate more advanced smart home technology into our daily lives, how long will it be until our homes can actively monitor their own building envelope health in real time?
Oh, wow. Like a built-in diagnostic system.
Exactly. Imagine a house embedded with micro-pressure sensors that can warn you of an invisible structural wound.
Like a sudden air leak from a raccoon tearing a duct in the attic?
Yeah, or a window seal failing. It could just send a notification to your phone before you ever even feel the draft or see a spike in your utility bill.
Having a house that acts as its own diagnostician would be incredible.
It really would.
Until that technology becomes a reality, though, we have to rely on the rigorous science of standards like ACCA 12 to hunt down those hidden wounds.
Very true.
Which brings us right back to our original point. If you have a persistent fever, you wouldn't just keep buying different, more expensive thermometers.
No, you would demand a doctor who looks at the whole body.
Exactly. It's time we start treating our homes with that exact same level of diagnostic respect.
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep asking the right questions.